before you wanted the war. Now you wanna talk before you wanted the war. Now you wanna talk before you wanted the war. Now you wanna talk.
Welcome, you're with the Boxing Addicts at boxingaddiction.com. We are ready to ramble. I'm E. VZ.
Ghetto Phenom, Ishmael H.
And Mike D.
We got a lot of boxing to talk about. We got the heavyweights, Rahman-Maskaev, and we got the announcement of Baldomir and Mayweather.
Yeah, with the Rahman-Maskaev fight we had, very exciting heavyweight bout, toe-to-toe action for the most part, spectacular knockout again. E. VZ. What'd you think about the fight?
Well, I'll tell you what, I watched 3 minutes of the fight. I watched the 12th round, and it was amazing. I actually was walking by a bar at the time because I wasn't going to spend the $50 for the pay-per-view. And as I'm walking by the bar, I look in the window, and both fighters in the corners getting ready for the 12th round. They both look exhausted. You know, they both had their faces marked up, swelled up a little bit. So I didn't know what to expect. I saw the Letterman card. It said that Rahman was down by a point. So I'm like, oh, well, this could be pretty interesting. So I stayed there and watched the 3 minutes, and it was pretty sloppy at the beginning. They were both tired. They were holding and hitting on the back of each other's head. And then Maskaev put the distance between them and started landing those combinations. And he floored Rahman, and you know, Rahman got up moments later, stopped him.
Stopped him cold. I saw the still image that you emailed me of him holding on to Maskaev's leg so he wouldn't fall out the ring again. But this fight, we got typical Rahman again, where you know he likes to fade late. You know, I don't know, he doesn't put in the road work, but early on, Rahman, you know, was trying to establish his jab, trying to land some big right hands, and did a pretty good job.
He was controlling the fight.
And did a pretty good job at it. And then the later rounds, as usual, he starts huffing and puffing the same way he did against Fat James Toney.
And as usual, doesn't have a plan B.
Right. Exactly. And Maskaev just
been his
caught
Achilles
up
heel.
with him. He doesn't have a plan C, a plan J to defend against. So where does this lead? This of course was billed as a battle of the last heavyweight, and what's going to happen with the America's last line of defense. So where does this leave American heavyweights now with the Rahman, the last rock standing? Where does that leave us?
In even worse shape. When Hasim Rahman is your last line of defense, that speaks volumes of the state of American heavyweights already.
Exactly.
So what do we have left? We have the incredibly inconsistent Rahman, who I'm sure will be recycled and put on another comeback trail.
Exactly.
We have a 38-year-old former middleweight who's probably the most skilled fighter, but doesn't believe that road work is part of training camp. And if I'm not mistaken, has continuously gained weight ever since he came up to 217.
On purpose is what I hear now.
And
you know what? I heard that, Eric, that he's going to try to come in at 260. I was hoping that was a lie. I'm praying that that's a lie. But yeah, you're right. If I'm supposedly putting on more weight.
Right, you hope that's a smoke screen, but with any other fighter you say, no, they're lying, they're trying to psych out the other camp. But with James Toney, you know, you got to believe it.
Yeah,
right.
And, you know, we all love James Toney's trash talk and yada yada, but it's getting a little old.
It's getting a little old. I'm knocking somebody
out.
out.
Press releases with mother this person, I'm going to knock it. You know, we're getting tired of that, James. You know,
showing up by the shape.
Just answer.
Not knocking anyone out.
Right.
You know, making excuses, saying he won when, I don't know, he tested positive for steroids. Oh, I had the flu. Oh, I couldn't do it. I ain't have enough time to prepare. Every time there's something. Some reason he didn't do what he said he's going to do leading up to the fight.
Right.
It's getting kind of old. The clock is ticking. He's wasted now 2 opportunities to win a heavyweight championship. Most fighters are lucky to get one. Some people fight the whole career to get one. But outside of Toney and Rahman, I guess the most likely candidate or who has the biggest upside potential would be Calvin Brock. Now, whether or not he's ready or not remains to be seen. We haven't really seen him in too tough. I guess Jamil McCline is his best victory to date.
Well, and he scraped himself off the canvas in that
Came out
fight
the
too.
floor for that one, you know, and Jamil McCline is not the most mentally strong fighter around there. And he really had to claw in order to dig out that victory. So what does that say? When he gets in there with Vlad, when he gets in there with a 7-foot Valuev, you know, who knows. But
Speaking of those two guys, how do we rate the champions now? We got the Ruskies, the former Soviet, you know, champions. 4 guys, 4 champions. We got Maskaev, we got Klitschko, we got the 7-footer Valuev, and we got Lahovich. Where do those 4 guys rank as far as 1 through 4? Who's the best? Who's the worst?
in my opinion, Vladimir's got to be on top. You know, he's got the best resume. You know, his wins, that when he does win a significant fight, aside from the Peter fight, he had some shaky moments in there, but I think it still was a clear-cut victory.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's the most dominant when he's on. You know, he had a rough couple years, but he seems to have worked out some of the kinks. He's with Emmanuel. He's looking better and better every time out. He has the most potential and the best resume. Second, I had to give it to Lajakovic. You know, he had a good, exciting fight over a tough Brewster who's lately had been coming into his own also.
Right.
He had a legit victory, no controversy, clear-cut win. Great performance for him. I think that victory was better, more exciting, and more clear-cut than Valuev's victory over John Ruiz, which is why I rank him ahead of Nikolai. Fourth, Oleg Maskaev has got to fall last for the simple fact I've seen him get knocked out no less than 3 times. You know, he was in another close fight with Rahman, which Rahman was the linear champion, so he does get credit for beating Rahman.
Right.
But even with that victory, I can't put him ahead of the other 3 guys who've been more solid and more consistent.
Yeah, having memories of Corey Sanders, and we're not talking about the big punching Corey Sanders.
Right.
Not
And
the golfer.
Mount Whitaker.
What about you, Evezi?
You know, I don't have a problem with that list at all. And it's just a matter of, and I for one, really do not care what ethnic background these guys come from, just as long as they're fighting each other and we're unifying.
Right.
I want to see a unified champion.
And when you say fight each other, you mean fighting each other, not hugging.
Right.
Right. No hugging.
Well, the only thing I disagree with on there, I'd probably put Valuev, who's still a mystery to a lot of boxing fans, especially American boxing fans. But I would probably put him at number 2. He's still a little bit green, but John Ruiz, nobody looks good against John Ruiz.
Right.
Nobody has a clear-cut victory against John Ruiz besides Roy Jones. So he's not going to look good. Nobody looks good against Larry Donald. You know, but the fact that he won those fights, and you know, I'm one of the few, I think, that he has a good jab. He has good movement for a man that size. The biggest problem I see with him, he's pretty susceptible to right hands, where he doesn't necessarily cover up. Up until now, really hasn't been a problem. But if he runs into a Klitschko right hand or even a Lahovich right hand, he may go to sleep. But I put him at number 2, Lahovich at number 3, Maskaev at 4.
Right. You know, and I could respect that too. And as far as Valuev's concerned too, is he's got great balance too. You know, and if he could keep his opponent at bay with that good jab, he's gonna be really hard to defeat. Just like Vladimir when his jab's on.